He's an honor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I ask Mr. Chatelain one question so he can answer it for you?
If you make it quick, it's your time.
What's that badge on the top of your medals there, which are all combat decorations, by the way?
It's the Distinguished Service Cross.
What about the badge, though, the CIB? Tell them about that.
The blue and silver badge is Combat Infantry's badge. It's only awarded to those of the infantry who spend at least 30 days or so in combat minimally. Most of those who have this badge are impaired in some manner or they're no longer with us. And it's an honor to wear that badge in their honor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Major, and thank you for your service. And thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm retired Air Force Colonel Rob Manus from Madisonville, Louisiana. I served for 32 and a half years in the United States Air Force from the lowest enlisted rank to the rank of full colonel. I retired in 2011 and came back here to home to Louisiana. I'm here as a ninth generation grandson of Private William Manus Jr. of the American Revolution's Continental Army. I'm here as the great-great-grandson of both a Union soldier and a Confederate cavalryman. I'm here as the son and brother of Air Force and Army veterans. I'm here as the father of 3 U.S. military sons, 1 veteran who just left the Army, and 1 airman and 1 sailor. I'm here as a former commander who has the daunting responsibility for young American and enemy lives every minute of the day in combat. I'm here as a U.S. veteran and a family member of a man who sacrificed much for his country, a man who is by law a U.S. veteran regardless of the color of his uniform in the Civil War. I want to tell you how grateful his family was that the United States saw fit to try to reconcile with each veteran in that war, regardless of the side they were on. I remember as a boy being shown my great-grandmother's handwritten note to the governor and the then War Department because her mother could not read or write, expressing the deep gratitude she and her mother felt that their father and husband, Confederate veteran, was being honored by our nation as a U.S. veteran and would receive all the rights, privileges, and benefits as all other veterans have. Ladies and gentlemen, these monuments that are still standing in New Orleans are not about some long-lived racial issue, even if they might have been at one time in our history. These veterans' monuments are battlefield markers, honor the sacrifices of all U.S. veterans and their families in that war, as they should be honored. Please remember that many family member descendants continue to live in this nation and our state today, many that have loved ones buried on battlefields in unmarked graves, and see these statues and monuments as the only place where they can honor their veterans' sacrifice. I ask that you all give serious consideration that our nation has seen fit to reconcile to the United States all of her veterans several years ago, and that you do the right thing by passing this bill with a favorable report and pass this bill.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Reverend Marcel, you have a question for someone at the table? Okay. Oh, excuse me, Miss Pat. Coming to you.
Thank you. I'm sure. What's your name again, ma'am?
Brenda O'Brock. I'm with Louisiana Power Coalition, which is a statewide organization. I live in Caddo Parish.
And Ms. O'Brock, I want no disrespect here, but the issue of growing up, at 71, I'm grown up. I've grown up in a cloud of racism. I have family members that fought in the World War II, and my daughter not recently, but is an Air Force veteran who had to endure many different kinds of things as an Air Force veteran. But while you say grow up, I really don't see many people who look like you sitting out here who take to task those white supremacists who take on us under the guise of racism. I don't see many of you sitting out there who look like you, who take to task Jeff Sessions, who says slavery was an error in our country. So I'm saying that you say grow up, but there's so many other people that haven't grown up, and we have to endure what they give us to endure and to defend who we are. So growing up and having to see how history has changed, and when you talk about going backwards, Colonel Manis, we have gone backwards. We've gone backwards in this country because today, too many people can't walk down the street without being called ugly names, without being called things that they were called in the 40s and the 50s when I was growing up. So I understand where you're coming from, but you're going to have to not do it on one side. You're going to have to also stand up for what's right for everybody. And you're going to have to take to task those individuals who don't stand up for what you might believe in. So I'm making a statement and not asking a question. But if you want to respond, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Are you talking to me? Yes.
I would also like to respond.
Yes, I would like to respond. Yes, you need to get over it. You need to get over it because
Hey,
I
let
could.
me let y'all know the rules.
I didn't disrespect you now.
Okay.
Let's-
No, and I'm
hold up,
just.
hold up. I got the mic, and I can cut yours off. I don't want to do that. We're gonna be respectful. Okay, Miss Pat had a right to make a statement. If you want to answer her in a respectful way, I'll let you. But we're not getting into a debate. We're gonna be respectful of each other all day long. We have a lot of people to talk. So if you want to answer her respectful and not in a debate manner, you're welcome to do that.
All right, thank you. Yes, Representative Smith, I understand your sentiment. And just like I know that there are hateful people out there, there were then, there are now. I'm sorry that you were disenfranchised. I'm sorry that I can't do anything about that except come here today and try to bring solution and let you know that I've been through things too. And I could tell you stories in my own family. It had nothing to do with skin color, but ways that my family have been disenfranchised. And that's why I say get over it, because I've gotten over it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Smith. I appreciate you bringing up that point of view because it's very important. As I mentioned, I was a commander in the United States Air Force. I was responsible at one point for things like implementing the sexual assault prevention program. So I understand many of the issues that you mentioned with your daughter's service. I also want to point out that these monuments aren't seen as white supremacist monuments, even though the media is calling them that over and over. The one that was is gone. We're here to talk about protecting U.S. veterans. U.S. veterans, and excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, but this is a state and national issue, and there is precedent in other states for laws like this that just require a people's vote in order, instead of just some small municipal body, in order to do a major move like what the ones you're seeing in New Orleans are. And you're right. I have stood up to white supremacists. In my last statewide campaign, I stood up to a man named David Duke when all the other candidates that were running in that U.S. Senate race ran and kept their mouths shut. You betcha. Yes, ma'am. It has no place in our life today. It has no place, just like what happened last night at the Jefferson Davis Memorial when some pro-monument folks were peacefully gathered. They were surrounded and assaulted with eggs and spit, and the pictures that I saw reminded me of the pictures of the white people spitting on the little black girl that had to be escorted into the school back in the days that you were referring to. So yes, ma'am, you bet, and I'm with all due respect, the people on the other side of this issue are using the same tactics that were used against people of color, and it's despicable. Slavery was despicable. It was an egregious error that our country and our nation made, and we still haven't gotten over it. But you know what? I agree with my friend James Carville, who's married to my better friend, Mary Madeline. He said we should name the parade field after General Sherman over at LSU because he loved LSU and he was the first president of LSU. Well, let's all come together, leave the remaining 3 veterans statues alone and the rest of the veterans memorials and battlefield markers alone so these families, and I'm one of those family members that do honor my veteran, no matter what side they were on, can continue to do that. Let's name that parade field after Sherman because it should be. and let's reconcile this state and move forward. Yes, ma'am, you bet.
Thank
I
you.
will stand with anybody to fight white supremacism.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all very much. I'd like to call up